Career choices shape lives, but how well do we understand the professions we so admire? You're welcome to the Career Guidance and Counselling Show, where we go beyond the personalities to explore the skills, opportunities, and realities of the career spaces in the 21st century. Today, we focus on hair and makeup as a career path in the film industry. To guide this conversation, we are joined by an industry professional with experience working on major international productions across the world. You name it: Netflix, Disney, Warner Brothers, and many more. I am Esther Yaya-Mensah. Let's take a quick look at who our guest is. Angela Appiah, UK-based hair and makeup artist with extensive experience in film and television, having worked on major international productions with studios such as Marvel, Disney, Netflix, and Warner Brothers. Her work spans multiple countries, including the Czech Republic, Spain, Morocco, South Africa, and Ghana, adapting to different production environments, cultures, and creative demands. With a background of over 2 decades in hairstyling and years of hands-on experience in film, she brings both technical depth and industry insight into this profession. Today, she joins us to break down what it truly takes to build a career in this field, from entry to industry realities. Joining us today is Angela Appiah, hair and makeup artist based in the UK, to help us understand this career field better. You're welcome, Angela.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I was scrolling through your Instagram, right? And I saw this series that you actually post a lot, The Wheel of Time.
Yes.
And it depicts more of ancient fiction. Yes, but as a makeup artist, how are you able to bring the characters to life?
Right. So, for example, the Wheel of Time has 3 seasons.
Okay.
So the reason why you see it in a lot of my posts is
Yeah.
because I was working on that for about 3 years.
Wow.
And character makeup, working on the Wheel of Time, it was any makeup artist's dream because it's so varied, from hair to a lot of skin work, to the environments that character lives in. So when people say makeup, when they think of makeup, is very surface. But in the industry, you have to really be aware of the world that this character lives in, you know, and the time of day, what are the reasons behind why that person's hair is a certain way, if they're an alien character, you know, what would their skin be like? And because The Wheel of Time is a fantasy series, a bit like Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay.
So it covers the globe. Hence why we ended up traveling a lot around the world in order to film it. So we have a lot of impact as makeup artists for that particular show.
Great.
Yeah.
But how important is the role of a hair and makeup artist in film production?
It's an integral part because that is what people see.
Yeah.
Like initially, we as humans, we remember seeing images more clearly than words. You know, sometimes you'll say, oh, I know your face, but I can't remember the name. So our role is very, very important. It's what we see on the screen. It's also really vital that we're able to depict a particular moment in time. So we are telling a story visually. So without makeup, without hair, what are the audience really looking at? So it's a very, very valuable department. And, you know, it's an absolute joy to work in it.
Great. Someone will ask, can't the talents or actors do the makeup themselves? Because, I mean, some of us can do makeup ourselves, but if you just want to understand, can they do it themselves? Is it something that you have to learn? Is it a skill? Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's a very specific skill, being a hair and makeup artist. Obviously, if you're doing your own makeup, you're very aware of your facial structure. You know what your skin likes, it doesn't like. But to ask an actor to then create a character makeup, they're very tempted to stay as themselves. Everyone wants to look beautiful, but it may be a scene where that particular character has gone through some trauma, and then you've got to create wounds, bruises. What does a 7-day bruise look like? If someone punches you on your chin, where does the impact happen? So as makeup artists, we also study like anatomy. So it's not just what we see on the socials, lipstick and a bit of blush. It's character makeup.
You mentioned anatomy, that as makeup artists, you have to study anatomy. Why is that?
Because we learn about the skin.
Okay.
We learn about men's facial structures are very different from women. So when I say makeup artist in film, it's very broad.
Okay.
You have to know, but in the UK, America's slightly different.
Okay.
But in the UK, you have to know barbering. So you're doing the men's facial hair, makeup, hairdressing, makeup, skin. So if somebody has an allergy or a rash, this particular character, you need to know how that's going to look on the skin. So knowing the anatomy and the structure is really important for the audience to believe that what they're seeing is real.
Interesting. Very interesting. It was like studying cosmetology.
Yeah, cosmetology. So many aspects come into it, especially if you want to go into special effects.
I was going to go to that. Yes. But before we go into special effects, what are the different types of makeup tools? What are the tools you use on set?
Wow, my tools are vast because I do makeup, prosthetics, barbering, Afro hair, European hair. So some of my key tools, obviously my makeup brushes. If it's prosthetics that I'm doing, airbrushing. I have an airbrushing tool that can really create a smoothness that you may not necessarily get with a brush. My tattoo palettes, sometimes I do a lot of tattoo covering, and this is where your understanding of color, color studies, it's very, very important because everybody has different colors and pigments in their skin. So if I'm covering up your tattoo, for example, it's not just a flat color. The skin is made up of reds and greens and blues and yellows. So understanding color theory is also very, very important.
Great. Now we come to special effects, known as SFX. Am I correct?
Yes, there's SFX and there's also VFX, which is like video effects. So special effects is very broad. We use things like a lot of silicone molds. We have a thing called bondos, and a bondo is a product that we use that can create a cut within the surface, which then you would color and then you maybe add blood or something like that. So special effects varies from whether you're using the paints. We have illustrator paints, which are alcohol-based to activate the colors. And we use bondos. There's a whole spectrum of tools that we use for special effects. And then VFX is video, where we may place dots that need to be synced with the camera to create a more detailed or in-depth look.
The job is quite interesting.
Yes.
I want to ask, how far has hair and makeup artistry come for someone who is working in a very broad or less advanced film industry? How far have we come?
It's come a long way. And the reason why I say that is because now everything is HD, high definition. We have bigger screens, so people can see the detail. So it's actually challenged us as makeup artists to refine our skills. There's also AI that we're competing against, so that's a new territory that we're entering. So it's come a long way from just placing a wig on somebody, you've got your high definition lace front wigs, which is now entered into day-to-day life. You see a lot of women wearing wigs with lace front. That all came from film, so it's developed a long way. We're getting more mixed skin tones. So people are having to learn how to adapt their makeup artistry to all walks of life. So yeah, it's coming a long way. It's very challenging, but it's exciting as well.
I can tell. Let's start off with you. You have you've worked with Marvel, Disney, Netflix.
Yes.
Those are huge. You know, how did you, like your personal story, how did you break into such global space, that industry?
Yeah. It's something that I never even planned for. I really believe this was God's path for me.
Okay.
I say that sincerely, because what I started doing, I had my own business. I was doing hair, specializing in Afro hair.
Okay.
And I wanted to give a bit more to my clients. So I decided to embark on learning about makeup. So I went to study makeup. And then whilst I was there, I was introduced to the world of film.
Okay.
Which was a new world to me. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting. I would love to do that. After doing my course, a friend of mine...
What course did you study?
It was actually beauty therapy, but it had makeup on the side. So it wasn't just body treatments, it was makeup, and then they specialized in film and you paid extra.
Okay.
So I decided to pay extra and learn a little bit more about film. And there was a year course. I had my business at the same time. So I would study, you know, in the evenings, do the course, and then fit my clients around the course. So I was juggling a lot, but I was very determined, very driven. And then a friend of mine happened to be working as a documentary filmmaker.
Okay.
And she told me about this initiative of them looking for trainees, young trainees. But I started this film career in my 40s.
Wow.
So I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get this opportunity to do this. And she said, well, just apply and see. So I applied. They saw all of the things I had been doing and felt encouraged by that. And then they invited me along and I started working. That first film that I worked on, I realized very quickly that there were very few Black hair and makeup artists.
I must say that.
And it was needed. So for me, that was when I felt, okay, God is calling me to do this. So I put my business on hold, and that's how I entered into film. And I haven't stopped since.
Well, congratulations for representing the Black African community on that level. Now we want to look at what a day is like for you. So there's a production, and let's say the court time for an actor to go on set is at 6 a.m. When does your work actually start? It
starts very early. So if we had a 6 a.m. call, and that is for when they need to be in the chair, we as makeup artists have to be there an hour before. So usually it's getting to the location. It's half an hour to set up. Then you have your actor in the chair. You have maybe, depending on what you're doing, it could be an hour. It could be 45 minutes. If it's one of the guys and it's just a very quick skin correcting, they may give you 20 minutes. Time is money, so everything needs to be very, very quick in film and in TV as well, but film more so. So my day would start, maybe I live further from the studio. I may wake up at 3:30 a.m., get ready, get to set up my station, have a quick breakfast, and then my actor's in the chair. So discipline, timing is very, very important. Yeah.
And then, so do you have to come in during the course of maybe the shooting or the filming? Do you have to come in to correct some makeup, or do you have to, you know, do some touches here and there?
Yes. So you start off in the morning, you'll do your actor's hair and makeup, and then you will, what we say, travel. You travel with them to set, and then you will stand by on that actor for the rest of the duration of the day. If, for example, as a key makeup artist, which I do sometimes, I may have 2 lead actors. So I would start off with my first actor. The production would, you know, arrange the schedule. I'd take them to set, and then somebody would stand by on them whilst I go back, do my second actor, and then we both go to set. So it's kind of a teamwork collaboration, but you'll be with them throughout the course of the day. When they call cut, then that's an opportunity to do any touch-ups. You know, they'll say final checks, you rush in, you do your final checks, turning over, and then they shoot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So for some actors, are you assigned to particular actors or talents, or they choose you to do their makeup for them?
So what happens is the makeup designer, who's a HOD, so that's a head of department, she will assign an actor to you based on your skills and based on your experience. So I often work with the main team. So there's two divisions. You have your main team, hair and makeup artist, and then you have your crowd team. They do all the supporting, the background artists. So if you're working on the main team, there may be, say, 6 of you, and you work on the main top characters. So say 1 to 7. Those are your key, like your number 1 is your big celebrity actor, right up to number 7. And you are the team that looks after the main actors. Nobody else will work on them.
Interesting. What are some of the challenges you experienced starting out as, you know, one of the few Africans, if I should say, in that industry?
It's starting out was very difficult to navigate the industry. There's a real hierarchy of positions, and you have to understand and respect those positions. There's reasons behind it. So starting out, you would be a trainee. I started out as a trainee, and being a trainee, you're not necessarily going to be starting doing hair and makeup. You're there to support the team. So you will help me, for example, to set up my station, know exactly the look that character needs for the shoot the next day. You will help us, support us with lunch, the call sheet, printing off continuity pictures. So it's quite lots and lots of different responsibilities as a trainee. And then we also give opportunities for you to work on some of the characters. For example, I may be putting on a wig and the trainee doesn't really know or had that experience. If my actor's happy, I'll invite her to assist us. So then she or he will learn how you put on a lace front wig, where the glue goes, how you pin that particular wig on the actors. So then you have a trainee, junior, artist, and then key artist, and then the designer and supervisor.
Wow, a long hierarchy.
So it's quite a few positions.
And now you are a key makeup artist.
Yes. So I'm a key makeup artist. I'm also a makeup artist. So depending on what the job is, this last job I've just done is key makeup artist. So I work on all of the main cast. I also oversee, if anything is wrong, I'm watching the monitors and I think that person's looking a little bit shiny or the hair isn't quite right. Then I will relay that to my colleague and say, you need to step in and make sure that you correct the wig, and they'll go in. So you're sort of overseeing the work.
So it means you're standing at maybe behind the cameras with the directors?
Yes.
How does that coordination work?
Yeah, so you have to collaborate with the directors, with the first. So the first is, they call them first AD, that's the first assistant director. And the first is the one who has the floor. And he will relay, okay, we're turning over, we're shooting, okay, cut, no checks, okay, makeup, can you come in? Director wants to speak to you. And the director may say, okay, Angela, I actually want them to have more sweat. I want their emotion to come through, or I want them to look as though they're crying. Can you do that? Like, sure, no problem. And then I have to have a kit that can do all of these things. So yeah.
Great. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll talk about how you work across the globe. You know, you've worked in UK, I'm sure you've worked in Ghana. We want to see the disparities there. So viewers, we've been speaking to Angela Appiah, UK-based hair and makeup artist. Stay with us, we'll be back. You're welcome back. This is the Career Guidance and Counseling Show. Today, we are speaking with Angela Appiah, UK-based hair and makeup artist, to help us understand what the career path is all about. Yeah, so before we went to break, we're talking about, you've worked in UK, Europe,
Yes.
and Africa. What are the differences that you've come across working in these different environments?
Yeah, there's been quite a few differences,
Okay.
the weather being one. I worked in Morocco, so coming from the cold and then going into the desert with extreme heat, but extreme cold as well, because unbeknown to me, they said it was going to be cold a little bit, but I was like, well, it's the desert, it's not going to be too, But it was the Atlas Mountains, and the Atlas Mountains obviously is snow tops. So in the night, it gets extremely cold, and in the daytime, it's extremely hot. So you can imagine working with an artist, you've got to keep that makeup looking on point. So there were a lot of checks, a lot of checks. So the terrain was very different. I've worked in the Czech Republic, in Prague, which was very cold, but they have such beautiful locations, so you can create so much for the characters and the worlds in which they live in. But day to day, like working in countries like that where they're not used to seeing as many Black people, that also can present some challenges. Some racial challenges. A lot of them are very friendly. Some maybe just misunderstanding our differences.
The cultural barriers.
Exactly. So when you're traveling, you need to be prepared to experience some resistance, also collaborating with different teams out there. But I've just been really blessed. God has really had my back, and I've managed to work and assimilate very, very well. So one of the key skills as an artist is being able to read a room very quickly, in terms of the director, the actors, international crews, you work a certain way, they work a certain way. We all have to learn to just blend and collaborate together. So on my travels, I've learned a lot, but it's been very exciting as well. Having opportunities to fly around the world doing this job has been great. But it also takes a lot of your energy, mentally, physically. Sometimes feel homesick, you miss your friends and your family. And before you know it, a year's gone by. But those are the sacrifices that we make. And then when you see the end product of the movie, it's all worth it.
What's the longest production you've worked on?
I think The Wheel of Time has been the longest production. That had 3 seasons. We would shoot for maybe about 8 months of the year. So we'd be in the Czech Republic, and then it would take us we went to South Africa. This was a couple of years ago. Worked in Cape Town, went to the Northern Cape, where the desert is. It's the border between where South Africa ends and where Namibia is. So we shot up there. That was tough. That was probably the toughest country
why is it the toughest?
Because of the weather.
So climate is an issue.
It was a real extreme conditions. A lot of people were fainting
from the heat.
The heat, and then but it was beautiful, and the end result was incredible. So it was worth it. So that was the longest job that I had, working from seasons 1, 2, and seasons 3.
Great. You were speaking about some of the soft skills that as an artist you should have on set, to talk about reading the room. What others do you think we need to survive, if I should put it, in that career space? I'm glad you brought that up. It's one of the most important key skills that I think people overlook. Having the right personality and outlook, being warm and personable is so important. You can't teach somebody that. I can teach you airbrushing, I can teach you how to do prosthetics, but to have a persona that fits in, that is kind, trustworthy,
professional, being able to understand that these actors are also under a lot of pressure.
Okay.
So on the surface, they have to be up all the time. And then there's a day where they just want to break down.
Yeah.
And you've got to be there for them, you know. So soft skills are really, really important. Being kind has really got me so far in my career. And it's just the nature. I owe it to my parents.
Okay.
You know, a lot of Ghanaians, we're friendly people,
Yeah.
you know, and it's really actually helped me in my career. My faith has also helped me.
Okay.
You know, moments where it's so tough, I'm just like praying, please, Lord, just let me get through the day.
Yeah.
And it rubs off on people. They see that you actually care about them and about your job. Yeah.
Great. So you're done with soft skills. Let's do technical skills. So you mentioned a few that you had to learn anatomy, cosmetology.
Yes.
Are there institutions, if you know of some in Ghana and in the UK, that train people to be hair and makeup artists for the film industry?
Yes. So in the UK, because that's where I live and work mainly, there are a lot of academies. So they specialize in just film and TV. And those academies, they're really important because they teach you about period hair and makeup.
Okay.
So, for example, if I say, okay, this film is set in the 1980s, you need to be able to execute what the hairstyles were like in the 1980s or the 1800s. So having history, knowing history is really, really key. And keeping up on those skills is very, very key. Okay. So we have lots of academies where you can study. They're quite expensive. Okay. And the path that I took was I did some short courses because I couldn't afford the year-long courses. Okay. I did lots of master classes. So I'd look online. I would ask people, you know, I would practice. I'm self-taught as well in a lot of areas. So I encourage those of you who maybe cannot afford the academies, don't be disheartened, practice. Even if it's like learning how to use your rollers, keep practicing. The faster you are, the more you'll be an asset to the film industry. So, you know, if you can't get to the academies, I encourage you, it doesn't mean that you can't get into film because social media has really opened up a gateway. So if you're posting a creation that you've done yourself, there'll be a designer watching and think, wow, who is this person? How did they create that? And they may contact you. So I really encourage, you know, those who are self-taught, just keep practicing. If you can't get to the academies, do a masterclass. And when you do that masterclass, find a friend that you can practice on. You know, we do things like laying on beards where we can create a full beard. Learn. Ask your brothers, your uncles, a neighbor, please, can I just take a moment to practice on you? And that will put you in a good position.
Great, thank you for that. What are some of the misconceptions that are in the industry?
Oh, I think everyone thinks it's glamorous.
Yes.
And like, oh, you know, you're just with all the celebrities and partying or whatever. Yeah, when you're getting up at 2 a.m.
It's not.
in the freezing cold, and it's raining, and they're like, we're still going to film. You know, it does take its toll. So yeah, I think there's a misconception. It's very, very glamorous and it's quite easy. You just do a little bit of makeup and that's it. You have to study. You have to know about that character. You have the script. You read that script. You read it again. You do your character breakdown. You're constantly working.
So there's the research bit, there's the practice bit before you're able to execute the final product on your actor or your talent.
Yes.
Great. So beyond being in hair and makeup, you know, in that field, are there other career paths? Is there a ladder that you can climb up to get to the top? Like, what is the highest in the field?
So people aspire to be designers. There's also being a supervisor, a crowd room supervisor. That takes a lot of organization. So if you've got good organizational skills, you're very methodical in the way you think, those are very good transferable skills that you could apply to being a supervisor
Okay.
or a designer. Now, designer is a great title.
What do they do, the designers?
What the designers actually do is you are overseeing your team. You're creating looks, but you're overseeing the team, that you have a team that you can utilize in hair, in makeup, in prosthetics. Have they got additional skills? Like, for example, I sew. And when we worked on a movie called Jingle Jangle, which was a beautiful Christmas movie, my sewing skills came in handy because they wanted some hair adornments for this character, and I ended up sewing those adornments to put in the hair. Also, because I had my own business, I was very good with Excel spreadsheets. So I was helping the designer with the projections for budgeting for our department. So as a designer, there's a lot that comes into it, going into meetings, planning the next stage of the shoot. So many areas and lots of responsibility.
Good. Yeah. Well, someone said this is actually a glamorous career. Is it financially rewarding?
It is. It
As
is financially
starting out,
rewarding.
or maybe you have to spend so many years in the career space before you be like, okay, now I've made it.
Yeah, it is financially rewarding. As a trainee, it is tricky.
Okay.
It's difficult because obviously the tools that I use are very expensive.
Okay.
But when you start out as a trainee, because we artists, those who are established, we know how difficult it is. So quite often when they come onto a job, we will lend them our tools to practice. Sometimes I give some of my stuff away. People are kind that they will buy certain things for the trainees. And then once they finish that job, say you're a trainee on a particular film, this is what I did.
Okay.
I would put money aside and then get the next job and put money aside, and then I'd buy.
So you were working multiple jobs?
Exactly. So I would just put money aside and then invest in my training, invest in a particular tool. And over time, you start building your kit, you know, going to makeup shops like MAC, you know, they were really kind and gave me a few bits.
That's expensive.
It's expensive, but they gave me samples, you know, and then I would use that to practice on. And then once I was able to get a job opportunity, I'd take a percentage of what I earned and reinvest in buying the right products.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How important is networking in your industry?
Networking is key. It really is, because the jobs are not advertised.
No, I've not seen anyone.
You don't just look at, they're looking for a hair and makeup artist. You have to be confident. You have to be very driven, very disciplined. So you need to be outgoing and personable, say hi to someone and not feel afraid to ask them what it is that they do. A lot of the times when I started out, I would look at on Instagram and look at makeup artists that I admired or a certain look, and just maybe send them a message. Sometimes they didn't respond, but sometimes they did, and they'd give a word of advice, which I would take on. But then I would start practicing my own looks, because at the end of the day, they're already established.
Yeah.
So why do you want to be that person? Be yourself. Find out what is your niche. What are the key skills that make you stand out from the rest?
Yeah.
So as much as you network, also you are of value. So always remind yourself, what is it that I'm bringing to this industry? I can create a look. For me, it was having Afro skills, specialize in Afro hair, braiding, which I learned from my mom and my aunties. And, you know, we Ghanaians, we know how to do hair. Yeah. So, you know, that was my key skill. But from there, I wanted to do more. So that's when I went into prosthetics and learned how to do barbering as well.
That's nice. So for someone in the industry, you mentioned a few things, but how do they build a strong portfolio?
So building a portfolio, obviously when you're starting out, you don't know any of the actors.
Yeah.
And you may know someone. If you do, ask them, can I do your makeup, please?
Okay.
So if you don't know anybody and you're building your portfolio, find a friend, find a colleague, somebody that you can, that doesn't mind, you know, and also collaborate. Find somebody who's a photographer who's looking for content. So you're like, well, I want to post my makeup. You want to do photography. Let's work together and collaborate.
I would say social media too.
On social media, definitely. I think people rely solely on social media.
Okay.
And I would say broaden yourself, go to art galleries, see what is actually happening in the world, because at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to project onto our films. So if you're just looking on social media, that's a limited view. You go out into the world, just when you're walking around, taking the colors, the textures, how do people walk? How do they wear their hair? Look at old people, look at their skin. You know, you have to create all of that. So being in the world makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So it's important to get out to the art galleries that are there. Some of them are free. Some of them you pay a small amount, you know. So, yeah, just broaden your horizons.
Interesting. How is AI impacting your industry currently? And how are you working collaboratively with AI to make it work?
It's really difficult. I mean, this is a new territory that is moving very, very quickly. Usually when we're on set, they do what's called a 360 camera. It's about maybe 200 cameras that all flash at the same time and they capture the actor. And they do that so that, say, for example, they need to recreate something, they can use that person's image. But the danger or the concern is that they can replicate that image so many times that then the actor or those who are behind the scenes can be obsolete because they pay you a certain amount of money and use your image. How many times are they going to use that image? Then you're not working. So it's a very tricky territory that we're entering into. And also because of AI, they can refine things in such a quick time. Whereas a makeup artist, I have someone in my chair, it could be an hour. They can recreate, and they're there, you know, capturing voice. So they've got your voice, they've got your image. You know, where does that leave the artist? So now it's a field that we're having to explore. How can we then collaborate and make this tool work and not be redundant?
Sure. Are you interested in mentoring or training young creatives in Ghana and Africa?
I have been. This is one of the reasons I'm here. Is because I see so much potential and I believe that this is the future. I mean, I've worked with Idris Elba, who I'm not sure if you're familiar, has a studio out here in Ghana.
Oh, we do.
Yes. And so he and I, we have the same vision in terms of how we believe that Ghana has got so much potential. So there are a couple of makeup artists I recently met that I'm mentoring. And I'm really looking forward to coming back and, you know, possibly holding some courses so that I can pass on my skills as well.
Comparing the skills of your mentees to those in the UK or in the West, is there a gap that needs to be filled? Can they actually reach the level that you are now?
I think there is a gap in terms of like the technical tools that we use. However, the skill set of the local Ghanaians is incredible. The fact that they don't have the tools, but they're still able to execute the looks. Imagine what they would be like if they had the tools. I mean, we'll be flying. So for me, it's really encouraging. I feel very inspired by what they're able to achieve, considering they haven't been in various established academies, so to speak. This is why I believe that we have to invest and really encourage the youth and let them know, just because you're not in the UK or America, there's a rich resource here that hasn't been tapped into. You know.
I have one final question. How do you handle, mistakes on set?
Oh, yes. That's another key skill. You've got to be very quick thinking and know how to adapt. So having somebody who is self-taught makes you really resourceful
Yeah.
So if something goes wrong, you know how to patch that up because you've kind of done that when you were creating.
Okay.
The first thing I would always say is if something goes wrong, raise your hand. Let your designer know. You know, if they call cut and you can see something's gone wrong, speak to one of the ADs, say, listen, I'm going to need 5 minutes. This is what's happened. Because if they're not aware and then they see it, it means we have to reshoot.
Yeah.
So be very honest. Get your team to help you if you need. Let your designer know so that then the next day, okay, what happened? Oh, they were too hot. The actor was too hot.
Yeah.
And so the makeup was melting off or
Yeah.
wherever. Maybe we have to have a cool tent.
Yeah.
Which often when we were in the desert, we had a cooling tent.
Okay.
So as soon as they called cut, the actors would go into the cooling tent to cool and calm down. Turning over, they'd bring them on. So they managed to look the part.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you make a mistake, raise your hand, correct it if you can, let people know what you're doing. Yeah.
Final words to our young professionals or young people who want to start out in the career before we go.
Okay. I would just encourage you, guys, girls, younger, older. As I said, I started my career in my late 40s.
Wow.
And don't let that stop you. If you have a vision and a goal, you can achieve it. I think just practice.
Yeah.
Remind yourself of why you want this and look to others who also established and see if you can network. But yeah, I just say go for it.
Go for it. Thank you very much. Well, it's never too late to start out in your career. This is the Career Guidance and Counseling Show. We've been speaking with Angela Appiah, UK-based hair and makeup artist. I am Esther Yaira Mensah. See you in our next episode.